Enugu Assembly moves to regulate activities of masquerades. Banks increase lending to agri by 24.2% to 2.6 trillion naira. Police arrest 2,000 pro-Palestinian protesters on U.S. campuses. IOC unveils 36 athlete refugee team for 2024 Paris game. Details of these and more will come to you in the bulletin. We'll be right back. Vice President Kashim Shettima said President Bola Tinubu's administration will not blame former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration for the challenges facing it since the new government was inaugurated in May last year. He spoke while addressing guests during the second Chronicle Roundtable organized by the 21st Century Chronicle, as he attributed the situation to the many obstacles Nigeria as a nation is contending with. The vice president said Tinubu chose to make a difficult decision for the benefit of Nigerians instead of taking an easy way out. He said the president chose the option that will save the lives of the people instead of the ones that will lead to prolonging economic death, adding that leadership is about courage and continuity. In another development, Vice President Kashim Shettima says the President Bola Tinubu's administration is determined to eradicate corruption without fear or favoritism. He said this on Thursday at the second edition of the Chronicle Roundtable in Abuja, where he said the government has been working to reduce the unemployment rate in the country. The event was focused on examining how Tinubu's administration's economic and social agenda will transform Nigeria. In attendance include the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, Special Advisor to the President on Political Matters in the Office of the Vice President, Hakeem Baba Ahmed, and former Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Shamsuddin Usman, among others. Some members of the President's party, the ruling All Progressives Congress, are currently being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for sundry corruption charges. The latest in the list is ex-Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello, who the anti-graft agency is prosecuting on 19 counts bordering on alleged money laundering, breach of trust, and misappropriation of funds to the tune of 80.2 billion naira. A coalition of civil society groups held a press conference in Abuja to address the state of corruption and alleged attacks on anti-corruption institutions in Nigeria. This press conference signifies a growing concern among civil society groups regarding the challenges faced by anti-corruption efforts in Nigeria. Our correspondent Irene Okichiku tells us more.
Awal Musa Rasfajani, leading the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, stressed the importance of transparency and accountability in the fight against corruption. He raised serious concerns about what appeared to be deliberate efforts to undermine anti-corruption agencies. These tactics, according to Rasfajani, involve malicious attacks and blackmail through manipulating media sponsorship and promoting biased opinions in the press. This alleged strategy, he said, aims to discourage investigations and ultimately protect corrupt officials.
We cannot continue to allow our country to be hijacked by these corrupt individuals who did not constitute any significant number, but keeping Nigerians, in their vast majority in perpetual poverty, insecurity, and inequality. There are a number of ways in which these corrupt people and their enablers have facilitated corruption and attack on anti-corruption institutions in Nigeria.
Rasfajani also highlighted a worrying trend, an increase in corruption cases involving foreign collaborators. Additionally, a lack of adequate funding for investigation and prosecution in Nigeria significantly hinders progress. Chido Onuma, representing the African Center for Media and Information Literacy, called for the removal of corrupt judicial officials and the implementation of transparent and accountable democratic practices.
The National Judicial Council must diligently monitor its members and promptly remove any corrupt judicial officer found to be compromising the judicial system. By doing so, it will significantly contribute to the restoration of sanity and the promotion of accountability within the nation. To truly establish a flourishing democracy, transparency and accountability must be strictly adhered to in governance. This requires holding politicians accountable for their actions and inaction.
Jibrin Ibrahim, a senior fellow at the Center for Democracy and Development, emphasized the critical role of independent anti-corruption agencies. He stressed the importance of upholding their independence to ensure a more efficient anti-corruption process.
We feel that if we allow this destruction of the Nigerian state and its institutions to continue, we will have no country, we will have no state. And the risk is that the present tragedy of anarchy and self-help, in which more and more Nigerians are buying guns.
From Abuja, Irene Okechukwu, Rapid TV News.
The 36 state governors under the urges of the Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, have disclosed that they are reviewing their individual fiscal space, state governments, and the consequential impact of various recommendations geared towards arriving at what they described as an improved minimum wage they can pay sustainably. This came as the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) gave reasons organized labour is fronting 615,000 naira as a new national minimum wage, saying it is being magnanimous by not raising its demand despite compelling reasons to do so. The governor said they celebrate with workers across the country for their dedication to service and patience, as all have worked with the federal government, labour, organized private sector and relevant stakeholders in arriving at an implementable national minimum wage. According to the governors, while they acknowledge various initiatives adopted recently by way of wage awards and partial wage adjustment, it is imperative to state that the 37-member tripartite committee inaugurated on the national minimum wage is still in consultations and yet to conclude its work. The governors added that they would remain committed to the process and promised that better wages would be the invariable outcome of their ongoing negotiations. Southeast government and the police have urged residents to disregard the sit-at-home call by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The group had declared May 30 at the sit-at-home day to honor those who fought in the civil war. The Enugu state government reiterated Governor Peter Mba's strong commitment to permanently ending the illegal sit-at-home exercise. A senior member of the Mba administration noted that the state was winning the war against illegal sit-at-home and insecurity, adding that the government would not take kindly to anyone attempting to disrupt the peace in the state. He urged the people not to listen to any other to leave their businesses and sit at home. Spokesman of Ohaneze Ndigbo Worldwide, Alex Ogbonaya, said the organization will soon hold its National Executive Council meeting in Enugu, where a decision would be taken. Meanwhile, police authorities have urged residents to go about their normal business that day. Governors of Bayelsa, Rivers, Cross River, Edo, Akwa Ibom, and Delta State have lauded President Bola Tinubu for initiating the construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. Upon completion, the highway will link coastal communities with major commercial hubs across Nigeria. The 12th gathering of the South-South Governors, also known as Braced Commission, took place at the Bayelsa State Government House in Yenagoa. They, however, emphasized the importance of expediting work on the East-West Road. Presided over by Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, alongside Bayelsa State Governor Duaye Diri and other representatives, discussion centered on regional development and cooperation. The council condemned the killing of soldiers in the Okwama community of Delta State and urged for a reconsideration of the role of military forces in resolving conflicts across Delta communities. The Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, has insisted that media freedom, freedom of expression, and access to public information were crucial to democracy and must be at the heart of Nigerian government's values and actions. The professional body of editors and media executives in Nigeria also said that it recognizes the crucial role played by journalists, media workers, and free independent media in protecting the country's democracy and advised them not to give up in spite of the prevailing economic challenges. In a statement to mark this year's World Press Freedom Day by its president, Eze Anaba, and General Secretary Yabosa Uwujaren, the Guild requested the National Assembly to initiate and adopt a law to protect journalists who speak out on matters of public interest, especially against abusive and strategic lawsuits which are regularly initiated to silence them. This year's World Press Freedom Day is dedicated to emphasizing the importance of good journalism amidst the current global environmental crisis. World Press Freedom Day is observed annually on May 3, established by the United Nations General Assembly in 1993. This day helps to celebrate the fundamental principles of press freedom, access the state of press freedom throughout the world, defend the media from attacks on their independence, and pay tribute to journalists who have lost their lives in the line of duty. The Enugu State House of Assembly has set up an ad hoc committee to come up with practical measures to regulate the activities of masquerades in the state. This follows the abuse of a female nurse, Ms. Blessing Ogbonna, by a group of masquerades in Ihe-Owerri, Nsukka local government area of the state. The setting up of the ad hoc committee followed a motion moved by Malaki Onyechi to address the abuse of human rights, threat to life, and destruction of properties by masquerades in Nsukka West constituency. Onyechi, representing Nsukka West constituency, noted that the menace of masquerade in this area was alarming, and many have either been injured or lost their lives in the process. The lawmaker said the recent abuse of Ogbonna had generated public condemnation and outcry from the people within and outside the state. You're still watching Rapid Television News at noon. Don't go anywhere. Still to come, bank increase lending to agri by 24.2% to 2.6 trillion naira. We'll be right back.
My name is Akio Sakido.
Hey guys, this is Anto Lecky.
My name is Leo Bliss.
My name is Akava. I go by the name Baba D.
And you're tuned into Rapid TV. And I love Rapid TV.
Shout out
Rapid TV. Thank you, Rapid TV. Please keep watching
Rapid TV. This is Rapid TV.
Rapid TV.
Keep watching.
Keep it down.
Leave it like that.
Welcome back. The news continues. Banks lending to the agricultural sector rose by 24.2% year-on-year to 2.6 trillion in 2023 from 1.82 trillion in 2022. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, disclosed this in its quarterly statistical bulletin for the fourth quarter of 2023. The report, among other things, showed lower growth in banks lending to agriculture and declared in the sector's share of total banks credit to the private sector. Analysis of data on deposit money bank sectoral distribution of credit in 2023 showed that the 24.2% growth in banks lending to the agri sector in 2023 represents 0.5 percentage point decline when compared to the 24.5% growth recorded in 2022. Further analysis also showed that the agri sector received less share of the banks lending to the private sector in 2023. In 2023, the agri sector received 5.1% of the 44.53 trillion naira banks lending to the private sector. These, however, represent a 1.15 percentage point decline when compared with the 6.15% agri sector share of the 29.44 trillion naira lending to the private sector in 2022. The lower growth in lending to the agri sector and fall in the sector's share of banks lending to the private sector in 2023 mirrors the lackluster performance of the sector in 2023. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, agri sector recorded a lower gross domestic product (GDP) growth of 1.3% in 2023, down from the 1.88% growth recorded in 2022. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation has announced a revision of the maximum deposit insurance coverage for banks operating within the country. At a media briefing held in Abuja, NDIC's Managing Director Bello Hassan revealed the new coverage benchmarks. The maximum deposit insurance coverage for deposit money banks has been raised from 500,000 naira to 5 million naira, for microfinance banks from 200,000 naira to 2 million naira, for primary mortgage banks from 500,000 naira to 2 million naira, and for mobile money operator subscribers pass through from 500,000 naira to 5 million naira per subscriber. NDIC's Managing Director emphasized that the update aims to bolster depositor safety, public trust, the inclusivity of financial services, and the overall stability of the financial sector. And now moving on to the foreign scene, police have arrested more than 2,000 people during pro-Palestinian protests at college campuses across the United States in recent weeks. Demonstrators and arrests have occurred in almost every corner of the nation, but in the last 24 hours, they have drawn the most attention at the University of California, Los Angeles, where chaotic scenes played out early Thursday when officers in riot gear surged against a crowd of demonstrators. Hundreds of protesters at the University of California, Los Angeles defied orders to leave, some forming human chains as police fired flashbangs to break up the crowds. 10 encampment of protesters calling on universities to stop doing business with Israel or companies they say support the war in Gaza have spread across campuses nationwide in a student movement unlike any other this century. The demonstrations began at Columbia University on April 17 with students calling for an end to the Israel-Hamas war, which has killed more than 34,000 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Israel launched its offensive in Gaza after Hamas killed about 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and took roughly 250 hostages in an attack in southern Israel on October 7. The U.S. State Department has accused President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, of using chemical agents on Ukrainian troops. The State Department made the announcement while revealing new sanctions against Russia, including against the Russian armed forces, radiation, chemical, and biological defense forces. The Kremlin states that the claims are baseless, but U.S. officials state that the use of the choking chemical chlorophyrin is not an isolated occurrence. Since the start of the full-scale war, the Ukrainian military has repeatedly accused Russia of using chemical weapons, including chlorophyrin. The weapons are used to dislodge Ukrainian troops from defensive positions. The gas was originally used in World War I as a poison, of which Russia has an enormous supply of the chemical. At least 20 people were killed on Friday when a bus plunged into a deep valley in Pakistan's mountainous northern region. The driver lost control of the vehicle on a bend near the city of Chilas in the Gilgit-Baltistan region around dawn, falling into a rocky ravine where the river Indus flows. The bus was traveling from the capital Islamabad to Gilgit. Road accidents with high fatalities are common in Pakistan, where safety measures are lax, driver training is poor, and transport infrastructure often decrepit. And now moving on to sports, 4 times Federation Cup winners Enyimba survived a scar from non-league side Warinje Academy before qualifying for the round of 32 of the competition on penalties. Zamfara United created an upset elimination multiple Federation Cup runners-up Mighty Jets 1-0, Niger Tornadoes, Kwara United, FC1 Rocket, Hamola FC, Lobby Stars, EFCC, Idel FC, Shooting Stars, Plateau United, Abia Warriors, Sokoto United, Bando Insurance, Aqua United and Sunshine Stars have all qualified for the round 32. In the game played yesterday at the Kwara Sports Complex in Ilorin, the People's Elephant rested most of their regular players but deservedly got ahead in the 4th minute through Desmond Ojetifian. Ayemba's inability to kill off the game made Warringer Academy grow into the game before they got the equalizer in the 81st minute. The game ended 1-1 and was settled by penalties, which Ayemba eventually won 7-6 after goalkeeper Zomina, and he caught Warringer's 9th spot kick and stepped up to score the match-winning kick. In Abuja, Kano Pillars atoned for their loss to Enugu Rangers in the 2018 Federation Cup final following their victory in the round of 64 over the current Nigeria Premier Football League leaders on penalties. The International Olympic Committee has unveiled the largest ever refugee Olympic team for Paris 2024, where it hopes to win a medal for the first time. The refugee team will take part in its 3rd games, having been first introduced at Rio 2016 and continued at Tokyo 2020. The IOC funded 74 refugee scholarships in the lead up to Paris, with 36 athlete teams set to compete. The inaugural Rio 2016 had 10 athletes, growing to a squad of 29 at Tokyo 2020. The athletes will compete across 12 sports and hail from 11 countries, including 14 from Iran and 5 each from Afghanistan and Syria. The news comes a day after Angelina Nadia Lohati, who has competed at 2 Olympic Games as a refugee athlete in the 1,500 meters, was suspended for testing positive for drugs. She is the 3rd refugee athlete in the past few months to fall foul of the doping authorities and faces a 4-year ban. The Anambra Beach Soccer Association said the state is set to host the 2nd leg of the Nigeria Beach Soccer League, scheduled to hold from May 15 to 16 in industrial town of Nnewi. The chairman of the local organizing committee, Charlie Jevonye, stated that in a statement in Oka, the state capital, on Thursday. He said the 2nd round of the Beach Soccer League would be held at the Nnewi High School Beach Soccer pitch. Jevonye said the Anambra Beach Soccer Association Board had worked tirelessly to promote beach soccer in the entire southeastern region. The 6 teams, which include Kebbi United, Kada, Jigawa, Manko, Patigi, and the host team Anambra Beach Soccer Team, will compete for honors. The 4 top teams from the 1st and 2nd rounds would advance to the next stage in Kaduna. The 1st round of the Nigeria Beach Soccer League was held in Kebbi State from April 10 to 13, 2024. And that's the much we can take on the news at this time. Before we go, here's a recap of our major stories. President Tinubu not blaming Buhari for present challenges facing Nigeria, says Shatima. Enugu Assembly moves to regulate activities of masquerades. Banks increase lending to agric by 24.2% to 2.6 trillion naira. Police arrest 2,000 pro-Palestinian protesters on U.S. campuses. IOC unveiled 36 athlete refugees team for 2024 Paris game. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Cynthia Agbo. Do not forget that you can follow us on our social media platform and enjoy the rest of our content. Have yourself a beautiful afternoon ahead.